Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Is my boomstick!
Game over, man. Game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He's your host, Ben Mason.
And he is your co-host, Sandro Luketic. And today we're talking 1996's From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, spoilers. I don't really think we need to say anything. People have seen this movie. They haven't. They don't really care. But this is one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. And I'm so happy we finally get to talk about it.
You make me say this every week. Just do your line.
I don't want to do my line anymore. Let's have fun with it, man.
No, it's your line. Do your line.
We assume if you're listening to this episode, you have already seen the movie.
Yay!
Why? I don't get it. But okay, we'll go with it.
You did it for like 100 episodes. Just accept it at this point.
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, it will come back. Sandro?
Yes, sir.
What is your experience with From Dusk Till Dawn?
I watched it last week.
That's it.
I mean, anybody listening or who actively listens remembers that 2 episodes ago you were upset with me for having never seen the movie.
Mm-hmm. It's so good, man. Like, I don't know how it never seeped into your culture. Like, what? How did you escape this movie?
I'll tell you the same thing I told you on that episode. You need to stop being surprised by the movies I haven't seen.
I know, but you look at all of the, there's so many pop culture references to it. Like, it's Clooney really breaking out from his ER role. It's Tarantino. It's directed by Robert Rodriguez. It has Cheech Marin. There are so many factors that should have, I guess, not been apparent to you, but you should have touched on. I find it very surprising that you had never seen this movie. Had you heard of it?
Of course I've heard of it. It's a well-known film.
It is. It is. I should let you know that in the sequel, there is a cameo by Bruce Campbell.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know there was a sequel, though.
There are 2. And the lead actor in the sequel is Robert Patrick.
Oh, I do like Robert Patrick.
Yeah, we should check that one out. Not for the show. It's a fun watch, but it's not a good movie.
We come across that a lot.
I know. I'm curious about your game for this movie.
Why is that?
Because I think there's only one person. I messed up, didn't I, already?
No, go ahead. Let's see what you got.
No, how many are there?
No, let's see what you got.
No. How many are there?
6.
Fuck right off. 6?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had Juliette Lewis from California.
Correct. Yes.
That's where I ended.
Wow.
Harvey Keitel, I don't think we covered at all.
Mm-mm.
Clooney, no.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Return to Horror High.
Correct.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
All 6 of them have one movie to their name.
Okay. Definitely not Tarantino. Selma. No, not Selma Hayek. Did we cover Cheech in anything?
No.
Okay. Michael Parks?
Yep.
Ooh. Fuck, he's been in a lot of shit. I don't know. What did we cover him in?
Red State.
God damn it. He was so good in that, too.
He was so good in that.
Yeah, he stole that movie. R.I.P. Michael Parks. That guy was amazing.
Well, you're halfway there now.
John Saxon, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Got it. Yep.
Whew. After that, man, it's toss up. I mean, like, Trejo's in here, and he's just kind of in everything.
Nope.
Okay.
Surprising on that one, isn't it?
Yeah, really surprising. I don't know, man. Who else do we have?
All right. Selma Hayek.
In what?
The Faculty.
Oh yeah, she was the nurse. That's right.
and John Hawkes.
He was so good in this movie. I feel bad. I don't remember covering him in another one.
Not the biggest role.
Who did we...
We praised it when we did it.
Of course we did. Did he play a main character's father?
Nope.
I don't know then.
He played one of the main character's friends, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Holy shit, that's right. Freddie Prinze Jr.
And we talked about how criminal it was that he wasn't in that movie more because he was so good in what he was in.
He's never been bad in anything. I feel like I was thinking about his character, like the way we talked about him is the role he played in, I want to say Winter's Bone. I think he played the father of the lead in that. And I'm forgetting her name now. She's from the Hunger Games. Jennifer Lawrence?
I don't even know what movie you just referenced.
Okay, whatever. We'll go past this.
Okay.
Yeah, John Hawkes, absolutely amazing actor. Wow, that was a lot more than I thought, man.
Yes, you thought 1. It was 6. There's a drastic difference. Some would say a difference of 5 even.
You can't win them all.
All right.
What can I say, man? I messed up. I messed up real bad this time around.
It's okay. I expect it.
Okay. When you watched this movie,
Yes, sir.
did it make you think of any other films or anything we've talked about before?
Bordello of Blood?
Perfect. I'm glad you brought that up. Do you know why I asked you this question?
Because you wanted me to say Bordello of Blood?
Yes. And that's because this was supposed to be the second Tales from the Crypt film.
Oh, this would have been so much better.
Right?
Yeah, because like Bordello of Blood sucked and this didn't.
Okay. I mean, I really enjoyed Bordello of Blood. It was not the best movie. This is much better. But this definitely feels like a Tales from the Crypt film. I think it just has too many stars. And they definitely wanted to make it its own thing. Obviously a franchise. It has 2 sequels and a TV series.
Yeah, but how many of those are good? That's a legit question.
This one.
See, because the thing is, I'd never seen this movie before, but I'd heard of it because people talk about it. And yet no one talks about anything else in regards to sequels or series, which tells me something.
Yeah. Well, the second one, Texas Blood Money, not terrible for a direct-to-video sequel. The third one, I believe, is The Hangman's Daughter, and that is a prequel. And then the TV show starts off as a remake of the first film and then does its own thing. I didn't watch any of it, but I tried. And you can't have somebody else play George Clooney's Seth Gecko. You can't.
Oh, they tried to have the same character with a different actor? That just seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, he's younger and he's a terrible actor. It doesn't work. Clooney is a juggernaut in this movie.
Oh, he looks kind of the same size to me as he normally does.
Oh, come on.
What?
That, sorry, I thought it was an X-Men reference. Fuck off. What do you want from me, man?
Nothing.
He's got to get rid of that tribal tattoo on the arm, though.
I know, it made him dangerous.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, I don't care about it or the other.
Yeah, let's just jump in here.
Okie dokie.
So we open up on Benny's World of Liquor. And this is where we get John Hawkes as Pete and Michael Parks as Texas Ranger Earl McGraw. Now, I love the character of Earl McGraw. Not because he's a good character, but this is one of 4 movies he's in.
What?
Yeah, Earl McGraw is also in Kill Bill, Planet Terror, and Death Proof. It's like an inside joke with Rodriguez and Tarantino.
Didn't really care for this character.
Why?
It's just the way he was talking.
Oh, he's an asshole, for sure. but he fits in this world and the world of Kill Bill, Death Proof, and Planet Terror. Like Michael Parks has never really played a favorable character in my memory. But I'm curious to know what else about it makes you dislike him.
Legit the way he talks. Not the things he says, the way he talks.
Oh, just his presence?
Yeah, his accent, his dialogue. Some of it is almost whispers. I was messing with the volume a lot during his talking here because it was just up and down.
See, I loved it. I love the banter between him and Pete. What did you think of John Hawkes as Pete here?
Amazing.
Yeah, right?
Oh, I wanted more of this guy.
I hate that we only got Pete in the opening of this film. He outacts everybody. Like, Clooney can't hold a flame to him.
There's a part where he's talking about how he considers that under the circumstances, his performance is Oscar worthy. And I'm like, yes, it is.
It really is. He is probably the best actor in this film. And we get him for what, like 10 minutes? Anyway, getting back into the plot of the film. Earl lets Pete know about this bank robbery in Abilene, where 3 cops have been killed, a civilian, and a bank teller was taken hostage because of these 2 brothers who one broke the other out of prison. But Earl goes to the bathroom, and this is where we get the reveal of the Gecko brothers actually being in the store. So we have Seth, played by George Clooney, and Richie, played by Quentin Tarantino. I have to ask, we know Clooney's a good actor. What do you think about Tarantino's performance?
I think it's okay.
Right? Yeah, it's okay. But I think it works really well with the character, because I find his performance somewhat annoying, but I'm not sure if that's his acting or if he's just playing that character very well.
I think he's playing the character very well.
Yeah. This leads us to the murder of Earl. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this because it comes out of nowhere.
Tarantino's an idiot.
Yeah. He's crazy, right?
Undoubtedly. Absolutely crazy. And John Hawkes is like, I wasn't sending signals. I wasn't doing anything. And I'm like, you're right. He wasn't. Tarantino is just an idiot.
Yeah. Clooney's like, he says you mouth the words, help us.
It actually is kind of surprising that Tarantino is the one that broke Seth out of jail, considering that I don't think he has the capability to do so.
See, I agree with that completely. I've brought this up in conversations with other people before. He does not seem smart enough to organize jailbreak.
It feels like it should be the other way around.
100%.
Seth constantly being his brother's keeper, simply because I can't see a situation where Seth is the one that goes to jail and the other one, I don't know, I keep saying Tarantino, but I don't even know.
Richie?
Is it Richie?
Yeah.
I don't see him being capable of doing anything without his brother.
Yeah, it's weird because normally you have like the brains and the brawn. Seth is both the brains and the brawn, and Richie is there.
He's legit a handicap for Seth.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird. Like this is directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Tarantino. And while I get some of that Tarantino flair, it seems like a really lazy script because this character doesn't really serve a purpose past the first 20 minutes.
Why not just flip it?
Yes, exactly.
Just have Seth be the one that broke Richie out of jail, because that seems plausible. Richie is unhinged, easily get himself arrested. Seth has the mental capability to break him out. They are in the exact same position they were in previously, but it makes sense.
Yeah. That fixes everything. You've been on a fucking streak, I guess, lately of rewriting small bits of movies that would make them so much better.
I don't think I did anything special here. I'm pretty sure like 9 out of 10 people that watch this movie will have that same thought.
Yes, but you're the one to bring it up.
Well, I'm the one with the microphone in front of me.
Kudos. Hey, I have a mic. Oh, I see how it is. What do you think of the shootout that occurs here between Pete and the Gecko brothers?
Oh man, like Pete is so good that I was rooting for him.
As soon as he shot Richie's hand, like you're cheering for Pete, right?
Yeah, I know that he's not going to make it because, well, obviously I know which characters are the leads in this movie and are going to keep going. But I was so behind Pete that I'm like, I want him to win this shootout.
It's a brutal shot to the hand, though.
Yeah. But honestly, when he was behind the counter, as he was like getting the gun out of the safe, part of me was just like, you're not going to kill them, obviously. Just stay down. Just stay down and get out of there.
Like him freaking out, trying to like spin the combination lock around. That's probably the most tense moment of the movie.
Should have just stayed down, man.
And that's the thing. Like, this movie starts off very strong, and it just gets really weak from this point on. I love this movie. There's no surprise there. It's weak. It's really fucking weak. Because you start on this type of tension, where do you go? I don't think Tarantino has the skill to build from here. He's a great writer, for sure. I mean, this is also 1996. God knows when he wrote the script. But this is so suspenseful. It's a vampire movie. It's not going to get any better.
I did love this as an intro, though, and it's one of the few times that I absolutely loved a subversion of expectation intro.
Good.
Because up until Seth makes himself known in there, you're like, where is this going?
Yeah. Well, the first part of this film is a crime movie, and then it turns into a horror film. It's really strange. I don't know of many other films like this. Did that catch you off guard, or did you know what you were getting into when you started watching?
It's kind of difficult to not know what you're getting into when you watch this movie if you haven't watched it up until now. I know it's a vampire movie. I'm not oblivious to some of the events of the movie.
Okay.
I was surprised, however, that we got essentially 50 minutes of a crime movie before any of that hit.
Yeah, it almost feels more Coen Brothers than Tarantino for the first part. And I would like to see what this crime movie could have been. Actually, I think I'm more curious to know about that than my interest in the vampire movie we got.
Well, yeah, because you don't know what the crime movie would be. You can see what happens with the vampire movie. Of course you would be more curious.
No, I know. Shut up. I really enjoyed the vampire movie we got. I think I would probably like the crime movie more. Not a knock on the film that we have in front of us. It's great. I love it. I mean, it's also bad, and I love it because of that. But I don't know. I feel like we were robbed here.
No, that was the bank at the beginning.
Oh, God damn. Pete's death. I think being burnt alive is a perfect send-off to this character.
Yeah, I don't think they should have shown it.
They shouldn't have shown it. They should have implied.
You can absolutely tell that it's the person wearing like the flame suit.
Yeah.
Just leave him behind the counter and let his screams tell us the story.
So with Pete burned alive, the geckos get back into the car and speed off. And we get this one weird shot of the bank teller in the trunk of the car. And I hate this shot so much.
It's not necessary.
It looks cartoonish.
When we get to the motel, we'll see that she was in the trunk. The news that, the police officer was giving us already told us that there was a hostage. When they got to the motel and pulled someone out of the trunk, we would have known you don't need this shot.
No. It makes the movie feel too campy right away. I mean, like when you get to vampires later on, you expect it, but it detracts from the quality of the film, I would say. But the way that Richie looks at her when they get in the motel room is disturbing, to say the least.
The redundant statement of the night goes to Ben.
Yeah.
The way he looks at everyone in this movie.
True. I do like how it shows their obvious problems between the brothers. Like Seth leaves for food to check the border. And again, Richie, being super pervy, sits on the bed to watch TV and tries to get the teller to come over and join him. You cut away, you know exactly what happened. Before they go back to it and you actually see it, you know what happened.
Does Seth actually like Richie?
No, I think he feels responsible.
Yes, I feel like if they weren't brothers, he would have ditched this guy a long time ago. And he only kind of like, he loves him as his brother, but he doesn't like him.
If they weren't brothers, I think Seth would have killed him after he got out of prison. I really do. It's like kill the acquaintance and get away with it. But we go to a restaurant where we meet Jacob, Kate, and Scott, who are heading to El Paso. Jacob, played by Harvey Keitel, a former minister. And then his kids, Kate, played by Juliette Lewis, and Scott, played by Ernest Liu. I love all three of these characters.
Jacob is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. And a Tarantino staple as well. Juliette Lewis, I mean, we've talked about her before. Sometimes I love her. Sometimes I find her incredibly annoying. I think she played the character of Kate perfectly.
Yeah, I didn't really have any complaints or really praising for her. She was all right. She played the character the way it was intended. The character's honestly not that deep of a character, so it's fine.
No, the character is more of a placeholder, just to kind of keep things going. But I feel like Juliette Lewis actually brought something to it to make the character less boring. I thought Scott was great. The idea of Jacob losing faith after his wife died. Any thoughts on that?
I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head, but it felt very cliche, like I'd seen it before.
Yeah, Signs. But Signs came afterwards.
Okay, well, same idea.
But yeah, it does seem played out. It doesn't seem that creative. The thing is, Harvey Keitel plays a jaded priest or pastor really well, which isn't really a character trope, but he's so good. Side note, I really like that Scott has a Precinct 13 shirt, just a John Carpenter reference. But in the RV, they almost hit Seth, who's returning with food. He stares them down, goes into the room, and that's where we get the reveal of the dead bank teller. And what did you think about that?
Well, first of all, Seth just standing there in front of the RV and then holding up his drink was maybe his weirdest moment in this movie.
Yeah, it's very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, it didn't fit his character at all. Maybe one of his best deliveries in the movie is when he is getting upset with Richie after this reveal. And he comes in and he's like, is this my fault? No, it's not my... Like, he does a great job here.
I don't know why he's taking the blame.
Well, he didn't really take the blame.
Well, it seems like he... What you were saying before about how Richie breaking Seth out of jail doesn't make sense. But Seth having this feeling of responsibility for his brother. Like, he challenges him here. Like, if they weren't related, like I said before, you think he would murder him in this scene. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you do this? I don't understand. So the family arrives at the motel. And Richie does his icebox tactic. Immediately, I get serial killer vibes. And no one seems to notice this at all. like they haven't seen any true crime shows or Law and Order or anything. And the geckos take the family hostage.
Yeah, I'm not buying this guy.
Yeah, right?
Like, the whole ice bucket thing is just weak.
He seems fake. Tarantino, first off, is not a good actor. And Richie here just comes across as a villain. But Jacob, being the honest man he is, obliges. But as soon as Kate shows up, I assumed things would get crazy weird with Richie. And they kind of do, but...
Yeah, no, they do.
Thankfully, it doesn't get as weird as I would have expected.
Well, it's because Seth is still there.
Yeah.
Like I think the whole thing about Seth wondering, even potentially if it was his fault that, what happened to the bank teller, is him being mad at himself for not knowing better than to leave Richie alone with her.
Yeah.
He knows he's the only thing keeping Richie in any way, shape, or form grounded.
Mm-hmm. When they all escape in the family's motorhome, I really enjoyed what seemed to be a forced but convincing bonding moment between Seth and Jacob. I don't know if this would really be natural or just forced writing, again, to make Seth feel like a protagonist. But how did you feel about the back and forth between Jacob and Seth?
Well, forced is a good word for it, because Jacob clearly wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And I did buy that Seth just, has some nice qualities about him, and he's just like, might as well just get to know each other if we're going to be in this together for a bit.
Yeah, I want to believe that. The thing is, we don't really see a whole lot of Seth being a good person. He says good things sometimes, but all of his actions, for the most part, are pretty negative and aggressive or violent.
I think good thing comes down to the intention, and I don't think he's trying to be good here so much as he's just like, again, might as well pass the time, get to know each other a bit. Like, it's not so much because he wants to be nice, because he even gets a little forceful, like essentially saying like, I force you to talk to me, but it's more just like, I don't know, what are we going to do?
Do you think this character would work if it was played by anybody other than George Clooney?
Yeah, I'm sure if I put some thought into it, I could.
I've tried many, many times. I don't think anybody else could play this role and make Seth an endearing character. I think Clooney is the only person, and he does it so well. And then we get Richie looking like a creep again. Classic Tarantino foot fetish shot, which only gets worse later on.
It really reinforces how unhinged Richie is when he's just like, did you mean what you said in the hotel?
Which is something he imagined.
He imagined it, but it's real in his mind. And that part it just puts it over the edge how insane this guy is, because like we know it's his imagination when we see it. He seemingly doesn't, which is even worse.
I know, man. I know. We talked California before with Juliette Lewis, and Brad Pitt was absolutely insane in that movie as a murderer. Tarantino in this role is scarier, but I don't think better. He's just so unhinged. The border cross. What are your thoughts here? Everyone hiding in the bathroom.
Well, the two thieves make sense, obviously, right?
Yes.
Keeping Kate with them is so that they have a hostage and Jacob doesn't try anything. Seems like a solid plan to me.
I agree. However, we have Cheech as the border guard here, asking Jacob what he's doing, like what's the purpose in Mexico, and he says he and his son are visiting. And Seth and Richie start arguing in the bathroom. He calls him what, a fucking nut?
Yeah, well, he doesn't call him that. He said, like, don't act like one.
Yeah.
It's one of those semantics things, but Richie takes it as him saying, you are, when he's just saying, don't be.
Yeah. Great writing. I actually really love this because it does lead to Seth having to elbow his brother in the face, knocking him out, causing Cheech, the border patrol, to ask what the noise was. Jacob has to say, oh, yeah, it was my daughter in the bathroom. And he's like, well, you said it was you and your son. He's like, yeah, me, my son, and my daughter. So, of course, they're going to go aboard the RV.
Because they need to.
Great tension. It's just really good writing. And I honestly, the first time I saw this movie, I thought they were going to get caught and shit was going to go down at the border. I didn't expect anything about a bar in Mexico. The argument between Scott and Jacob, too, before this all happens, I really enjoyed that because it finally, like, we know that Kate and Jacob have a very strong relationship. Scott and Jacob, I feel like we needed to build up their relationship because you can tell right away they aren't actually related and that Scott is adopted. So building that up here, and then they build it up later on. Like, I think Scott is probably, in my opinion, the strongest character of the family. Even though we've agreed that Harvey Keitel as Jacob is amazing, I love Scott. I love Scott so much.
Well, I guess that comes down to if you're talking about performance or character.
Yeah. Performance, Keitel. Character, Scott.
I can agree with that.
But Jacob says to Cheech that he's taking Scott to see his first bullfight. I thought that was in Spain, not Mexico.
I guess they do it in Mexico, too.
I didn't know that. And once they cross the border and everything's fine, Seth has gone full protagonist now. When just from the line, from now on, you are all in my good books. So we are kind of forced to like him more. And then we go right to the Titty Twister. Interesting name for a bar. Interesting sign for a bar. What do you think about Seth lying to Richie about what happened in the bathroom?
I think it makes sense.
I agree, but how does Richie not remember the argument they had and then taking an elbow to the face?
I think when he's asking about what happened, it was just the passing out, and I don't know, that could have been a concussion symptom.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. So we're at the Titty Twister now.
Cheech again. I didn't know he was in this movie.
Second Cheech character and the pussy speech.
I don't like this.
I don't either.
It's just too much. Like, I get what you're going for, but, you know, laying it on way too thick.
Yeah, this is Tarantino's writing and Rodriguez being like, okay, I guess. Let's film it.
If we have to.
The plan is to drink all night until the Gecko Brothers connection Carlos shows up in the morning. But the two of them kick the shit out of Cheech here.
Why?
There's no reason. Absolutely no reason.
Right? Like, it just seems too much.
Yeah.
You just got past the border. You are, kind of quote unquote in the home stretch, home free, whatever you want to call it. Why would you bring attention to this?
It doesn't make any sense. But now we get into the feeling that this is a full-on Tales from the Crypt movie. And I think that is because Danny Trejo is the next best thing you could get to Billy Zane.
Okay.
Anytime I see Trejo on screen, I get happy. Except for Con Air, he was really creepy. But
it's such a good movie. I think
it was a really good movie.
Everybody did a good job in that one.
But Trejo is the bartender at the Titty Twister, and he instructs us that only truckers and bikers are allowed in the bar. So a bouncer tries to kick them out, but Jacob shows his license for driving a motorhome, which is the exact same license you would need to drive a truck. So technically he is a trucker and he is there and everyone with him are his friends.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
I feel like Trejo would or should be just like, no.
No.
Like, that's it. Like, there's no explanation needed. Like, no. Like, yeah, you got a truck driver's license. You don't drive a truck, though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man.
But at the same time, why would he care? Like, it's just more victims.
Yeah, and that's why, like, when you rewatch the movie, you're thinking, like, why would it matter? Just let anybody in.
I mean, there could be an argument made for making sure that you pick people that won't be as easily missed if they don't come back.
Fair enough. Loners. Yeah, that makes sense. Tom Savini, that sex machine.
I really don't like this crotch gun.
You don't like the dick gun?
No.
Yeah, no, me neither.
I like Savini in this movie.
Yeah.
I just think that gun is so stupid looking.
It doesn't make any sense.
You just hold a gun.
Yeah. We see Greg Nicotero, too, though, which is great. Because he is one of the founders of K&B Effects. And Robert Kurtzman, who wrote the story, is the K in K&B Effects. So you knew we were going to get some pretty cool special effects here, if not like just makeup. Richie tells Scott he'll pay for whatever woman he wants. The only time Richie tries to do something for anybody, I kind of like it in the movie, but it doesn't make sense for the character.
Feels like a Seth line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, you nailed it. I didn't even think about that.
Because you get the scene here where Seth wants them to have drinks and enjoy themselves and unwind, and you could see him trying to, Scott, go enjoy a woman, right?
Yeah, like Seth buying drinks for everyone. The movie does a great job of making you like somebody you're supposed to hate.
I don't even get the impression that Richie has say over how they spend their money.
No, I agree. It makes sense that Richie dies as early as he does, because if they tried to keep him alive throughout the entire film, I think the movie would fail because of it.
I feel like it would be harder to root for them.
Yeah. But we get Fred Williamson, who's absolutely amazing, and the band Tito and Tarantula.
Is that a real band?
It is, yeah. Also in Desperado, directed by Robert Rodriguez as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Salma Hayek as Satanico Pandemonium. Do you want to describe this scene?
When does she show up?
Well,
I might have missed her appearance in this movie.
Yeah, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Tarantino missed it. It's so fucking creepy and disgusting, man. Like, she's doing this crazy, sexy dance with, like, a ball python, I think. But the whole reason this scene is in the movie is because Tarantino wrote it so he could have Salma Hayek's toes in his mouth while she pours tequila down her legs. His foot fetish it's just too much. It's too much. It shows up in all of his films, and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and now that I think about it, I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, even in Kill Bill, where the bride is like trying to convince herself or trying to make herself wiggle her toes, and it's just a straight shot on Uma Thurman's foot. You're like, what is going on? And you're like, oh, that's right. Tarantino likes feet. And then you just feel uncomfortable. You're like, please just move your toes so we can go on from here. Seth and Jacob. There seems to be so much respect between them, despite Seth being a complete asshole. I would love to see more of these two together in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly here or just a couple minutes later, but when Jacob even says to him, like, are you such a loser that you can't even see when you've won? And it's that first time that anybody in this movie shows Seth a backbone.
Mm-hmm.
It's partially almost like Jacob's just had enough, right? That, like, I don't know, the two of them from that moment on, I'm like, these two could like lead this movie together. It's just they have such a chemistry.
They really do. And that's something I find really interesting about this movie, is that we don't get enough backstory between or amongst any of the characters, but the writing for Seth and Jacob, it just makes us want to know more. Like, I couldn't give two shits about Richie. Kate, she's a kid. Scott, he's an adopted kid. It's fine, but I want to know more about Seth. I want to know everything about him. I want to know what Jacob's life was, how he got into religion. I even want to know how like he met his wife, what happened there, because these two characters are the backbones of the movie, and we don't have answers. We just see their actions or reactions, I guess.
I'm content not having a further backstory with Jacob, because they do give us enough as it is, even when him and Seth are talking and, you know, he's describing how his wife suffered in the car for 6 hours, I think he says.
Yes, 6 hours.
To kind of, you know, emphasize the reason why he's lost his faith and things like that. I think that's enough. But Seth, I would love to see more. I'd love to see, what did he do that he got arrested the first time? He doesn't seem like he would get caught.
Yeah.
What did he get caught because he was trying to, as always, protect Richie, right? That type of stuff I would definitely like to see a little bit more of, the backstory.
It would be great to know why, like, to give some reason behind the resentment that you can see but isn't actually addressed in the movie.
And if he went to jail for Richie because of that, then you could see a bit more of that resentment.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Cheech returns, calling out Seth for the assault. Richie gets a knife in his already wounded hand. So the boys shoot Cheech to death, and Satanica sees Richie's hand, and bam, vampires. And this is where the movie changes gears.
Completely changes gears.
Well, Richie's bit and dies. Thank fuck.
Well, he's technically not dead yet.
I know, but still, at that point, I'm like, thank God. Thank God he's out of this. What are your thoughts on the vampire effects?
Not a fan.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I need to go into more of this. I'm split on it.
Okay.
There are certain times where I really enjoy them. There are times where I don't. Even if you want to look at Satanica as an example. There's shots when she's first transforming that seem so much more of like a caricature of what you would expect a vampire like costume or design to look like.
Like Buffy, the TV show.
Yeah, and then after that, they go to a bit more of like a smoothed out face with just kind of like a scaling. And it's a lot more toned down, and it works a lot better for me. Same thing with, you know, like some of the characters, definitely character. Like when Savini turns.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like it's just so, it just feels so caricatured that I just didn't like it. But then
you didn't like when Savini turned?
No.
I love that makeup. It's just so goofy. Okay, I'm thinking about it as a Tales from the Crypt movie. You're probably thinking of it as an actual horror film. That makes sense.
Yeah, it just seems too goofy.
It is, yes. What about Trejo, though?
It's okay.
Yeah?
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not against it, but I'm very torn because there are some that are really good and then there's some that are really bad. What's
your favorite vampire look in a movie we've covered?
Oh, geez. I don't know. Put me on the spot with that.
Sorry. Well, have a think on it. We'll return to it. I thought Trejo looked really good, though. I thought the band also looks really good, complete with the human corpse guitar.
I think the thing is, the inconsistency is what gets me.
It is incredibly inconsistent.
I feel like if they just did full-out character or just more kind of grounded without that contradiction, that it wouldn't feel so jarring to me.
Yeah, fair. How do you feel about Cheech's death? Kate just shoving her cross necklace down his throat.
No, I'm okay with it. I'm definitely more okay with it than some of the other kills that we get later on.
Okay. What about Fred Williamson kicking ass?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Same as Savini, really. Except I don't know about the whip. It's a weird weapon. I don't know how I feel about that.
Does this guy need this? Like, he's already got, like, his cock gun.
Yeah.
Now he's got a whip, and it's like, okay, you already gave him a weird weapon. You don't need to give him a second one. And why does it feel like so many of the stakes that they use against the vampires are blunt and not sharpened?
Yes, I've noticed that as well.
And it's not just a couple of times. It goes on throughout the entire movie. Like, Fred, is it Fred Williamson?
Yep.
There's one scene where he, like, throws 4 dancers onto the 4 legs of a table.
Yep.
It's just like, well, those are all flat and blunt. And it's okay, cool. I guess he must have just used so much force.
Well, the thing is, they talk about it later that their bodies are soft and mushy, which I think is really stupid.
That's not enough for me in this regard.
Well, this is where I have the biggest problem with the movie. Because we get the death of the bouncer with, like, the pencil to the heart. Trejo's taken out. Satanica's taken out. This movie doesn't have a villain.
No, not really.
No. So there's, like, we just have to root for our heroes without them having a main foil.
I'm actually surprised that Selma Hayek does not last that much longer, based on, like, everything I've seen for kind of just promotional and people talking about this movie. It always highlights her so much, and I'm sure I know why. But even still, I would have thought that she'd be in it a little bit more for how much people put her in the limelight for this one, so to speak.
Well, I mean, just give them a bigger budget and she'd probably be around longer.
Fair. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
She's only in it for, like, her screen time's got to be like 10 minutes max.
Oh, not even.
Yeah.
Do you find it weird that it's a joke that all the vampires just burn up at the same time?
Oh, I didn't even really pay attention to that.
Really? They even acknowledge it in the movie. Like, after they murder everyone in the bar. I forget who it is. Someone says, like, aren't they supposed to burn up? And then all the bodies just catch fire at once.
Huh.
Like,
the thing is, I remember that happening, but I didn't put that much weight into it.
It's just so dumb.
That's just that's it. It's a dumb joke.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to get much else out of that.
Now let's kill that fucking band. The band, like, Tito says, like, fuck you, good night, or something. And then the band explodes and disappears. There's no explanation here.
Nope.
Okay, so now Richie turns into a vampire. And I think he looks absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't get better.
And Seth hammers a broken pool cue into his heart with the butt of his gun. We've already determined you could just push it through. Like, it's dramatic effect. It seems a bit much, but...
And he seemingly defends Richie, telling them that they're not going to take him out because it's his brother.
Yeah.
Only to then take him out?
I don't know. But again, it leads us to another moment between Jacob and Seth, building up Seth as a protagonist. As much as I'll rip on this script, it does a good job with Seth. It just takes time to make him our hero.
Yeah, some of these are just, like, questionable decisions. Like, why? I can see why you would hesitate. Maybe you could even have him say something like, he's my brother, I need to take care of him, or something. Yeah. But, like, that's not how they do it here. He hesitates to he almost prevents them from offing him, and then comes back and does it himself. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So the heroes team up and start staking all of the corpses. Jacob bars the doors because all of the vampire bats are outside. Sex Machine gets bitten and tries to hide it. I like that.
I don't know why this always happens in these movies.
Oh, it's a staple.
It's such a staple, and it's just like, you know what's going to happen. Yeah.
It does, eventually. We'll get to it. But it's time to make a plan. So we'll build crosses by putting 2 sticks together. Wooden stakes through the heart work. Sex Machine brings up Silver, and Kate shuts him down so hard. I love Kate in this movie. We do not get enough Kate. Seth brings up that Jacob is their best weapon against vampires. And does his pep talk bring back Jacob's faith or something? Because that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I don't know what to make of that. It feels like, I don't want to get into the logistics of it, but it's like if you've lost your faith as a preacher, does blessing the holy water work the same? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Like, and I don't feel like the situation is enough to like reignite his faith or anything like that.
I'm right there with you, man.
I feel like it would almost be the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's even more shitty things happening in this world.
Yeah, things aren't getting better right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then Fred Williamson gives his NAMM speech, immediately bitten by Sex Machine, who's now turned. I do love the shot of Sex Machine's hands creeping up over Fred Williamson's shoulders before he bites him.
It's a good visual shot, but you're just like, doesn't he feel that?
Oh, it doesn't make any sense. It's super campy and stupid, but I love it. Even like when Sex Machine realized he was starting to transform, when he's like checking his teeth and he covers his mouth and then his hand changes and then his other hand changes. I thought it was actually really funny, but that is Tales from the Crypt humor that does not fit in this movie. I acknowledge that. But he fucks everyone up. Williamson throws Sex Machine through the boarded up window, letting in all of the vampire bats, and somehow just turns into a vampire immediately, which makes no sense.
The incubation period for becoming a vampire after you've been bit is very inconsistent, because like he turns immediately and then Jacob goes for a long while, and then there's kind of like everything in between for different people. So whatever.
What do you think about the makeup effects for Fred Williamson as a vampire?
That's maybe one of my least favorite.
I hate it.
And it's got like this like hair lip thing going on.
I don't understand it. It looks so bad.
Yeah. It's easily my least favorite of the vampire designs.
Same. So Seth, Kate, and Scott hide in a room down a hallway, leaving Jacob in the bar. And he comes up with a shotgun cross scenario, a shotgun and a baseball bat. Absolutely stupid, but I love it.
I feel like it is too stupid.
Is it two Tales from the Crypt?
No, it's just too stupid.
I think it would fit in Bordello of Blood or Demon Knight. It just doesn't fit in this movie.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I feel like it's similar to the whole thing with Jacob. Like, can he bless it? Like, is it a cross if you just cross two things? Like, is there some intention that needs to be required when you create this for it to actually count? I don't know. It might sound like I'm nitpicking, but it just seems so frivolous to me.
No, I'm with you on that one. I've always hated the idea that you could just make a cross out of like two sticks to like fend off vampires. I've always found that really cheap. And this is the exact same scenario. But it allows Jacob to reconvene with the others in the room. And they dig through all the boxes, basically the shipments that have been taken from the truck drivers over the years. And the shit they find, I don't understand, man. Water guns, condoms, a crossbow, whatever the fuck Seth finds. Is it like a jackhammer without the bit in it?
I don't know, but this thing that he creates is completely stupid.
Incredibly stupid.
Is it just meant to be phallic?
Yes,
the
100%.
Whole thing with this is just, come on, guys.
Yeah. Although Jacob blessing the water, making holy water for the water gun and filling condoms with holy water is funny but ridiculous. Jacob makes everyone promise to kill him when he eventually turns into a vampire. Seth agrees immediately, which I found hilarious. But Kate is reluctant, eventually agreeing, and Scott takes some convincing. I actually really like this about Scott. It gives his character a little bit more depth because he's kind of been ignored for most of the film. But now it's time to fight. And again, with no real villain, I find it hard to take the scene seriously because you just kind of assume everyone's going to come out on top.
Well, not everyone.
Yes, exactly. I was wrong in my assumption.
Oh, okay. I had a feeling from very early on that it's one of those situations of just kind of guessing who's going to make it because there's no way they all do. Obviously, you know Jacob's not going to. I'm not overly surprised in the end that it's Seth and Kate because even Scott's reluctance here is like, well, that's going to be his undoing. But throughout the whole movie, it was just like, honestly, there was a part of me that was even anticipating none of them making it out of it.
I originally, when I first saw this film, I thought Scott was going to be the only one to make it out because he's so reluctant to agree to things. I felt like throughout the film, he would just have to accept things and let go of his beliefs just to survive, that he would end up being the only one. I was horribly wrong.
I could see that, though. Like, I could see that story beat happening.
Yeah. We do get some great vampire kills, though. What do you think of the death of Sex Machine? Except for that weird giant vampire rat thing he turns into. I never really got that one.
I don't understand when things like this happen. Why? Why does he turn into a giant rat?
We never get an explanation.
Yeah, and I'm not thinking that you're going to have an explanation, but it just like, can you even fathom something?
No.
No.
It doesn't happen to anyone else. So why him?
Why?
What are your thoughts on Jacob's shotgun getting stuck in Fred Williamson?
I found that to be a little bit of an enjoyable moment of humor because he's still firing through it.
Yeah. I really like it, but it doesn't make any sense. It's really stupid. But also, I guess you can just shoot or stab vampires to death.
No, they were getting them all in the heart.
Right.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah, especially the vampire that got shot in the face and died.
Well, that's where his heart is.
Jacob's turn. You don't like the effects. I thought the makeup looked fucking awesome. His death, though, super weak. Next up is Scott's death. I would say it's probably the most moving death of the film.
I don't know. This is where you might get some contention for me, but go ahead.
The vampires in this movie seem to just rip people apart. And with Scott, they just rush him and just bite and latch in and are just draining him. It's not overly violent like everything else we've seen, but it's like 6 vampires on one person and he's still alive and he's just pleading with his sister to kill him.
Maybe my issue is that I'm not a sympathetic person and the whole time I'm thinking, well, it's your own damn fault.
It is. It really is his fault, but I think that's the most brutal death scene.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I don't like how Kate shoots him and everybody explodes.
Well, you know, he, because they were latched on to him, now his blood was tainted and,
sure.
That caused them all to die. It was like they were poisoned.
I mean, that is actual vampire lore in other stories. You're not far off, man. It just doesn't work in this movie.
No, it doesn't.
So we're just left now with Seth and Kate, and it's dawn, And Seth tells Kate to shoot at the windows, so she shoots holes in the wood, covering those. And Carlos shows up, and his goons break down the door, letting in all the sunlight, causing the vampires to explode.
I didn't know Cheech was in this movie.
Only 3 times. Only.
Oh, only. Okay.
Yeah. Leading to one of my favorite bits of dialogue. It's like, what? Were they psychos? Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are. The back and forth between these two, every time they meet in the movie, is great.
Yeah. I don't blame Carlos, though.
Of course not.
It's not like he knew, right? Like, Seth is so mad at him, but it's like, it wasn't intentional. Like, he even says, it's like, well, one place is as good as another. I don't know. I drove by here. It seemed all right.
Yeah, it's a bar. They're truckers. They're open till dawn.
That's what you wanted, was to meet at dawn, right? Like, I don't blame Carlos for this.
So Kate asks to go with Seth, and he turns her down. He heads further into Mexico with Carlos and crew, while Kate gets into the RV and goes somewhere?
How old is this character supposed to be?
I don't know.
Because I know it's stupid, but I'm watching this and I'm like, does she even have her license?
I know she's not crossing the border.
I don't know.
That's for sure.
At least Seth gave her some money. Because he's not a complete bastard.
She should just stay in Mexico. But the camera pans out to reveal that the titty twister is just the top level of an ancient Aztec temple.
Did not mind this shot at all. I thought that was pretty cool.
I love that reveal. That's probably my favorite part of the movie.
And they even have like enough attention to detail to like you can see all of the like trucks and kind of like, I don't know if you would call it debris, but like,
yeah,
just junk piled up onto the sides so that you are like, accept the fact that, you know, because obviously people don't leave when they go in here, but they wouldn't see the back of that when they're entering the only time that they should be going through those doors, right?
Yeah. So that's From Dusk Till Dawn. How much do you think this movie cost?
I don't like the way you laughed at that. 20 million.
Oh my God, you were so close.
Really?
19 million. That's really good guess, man. What do you think it made?
Before or after people found out about the Selma Hayek scenes?
I can't say that.
I'm joking. 62.
59.3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're very close. Let's see if this keeps going. With ratings, IMDb out of 10, what do you think it got?
5.7.
7.2. We're getting a little bit distanced here. Rotten Tomatoes, tomato meter, percentage of positive reviews.
68.
63.
Oh, okay.
What about the audience score?
Oh, I am on the fence about this one.
It's a little bit higher.
Okay, 73.
76.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good, man. You did very well.
Yeah, it was all right.
But let's get into our awards here. I'm very, very curious to hear what you think.
I don't think too many of them are going to be very surprising, but who did you have for your least favorite character?
Richie.
Yeah. I'm just going to jump the gun here. I had him too.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
He's not supposed to be a likable character, and whether you want to credit that to Tarantino's acting or not, they succeed so well in making you hate this character. I guess, is it that hard? I mean, he's a psycho. He kills people. He rapes women. Like, if he's not your least favorite character, I think there's something wrong with you.
Agreed. What about favorite, though?
I'm going with Seth.
I also went with Seth.
I want to pick John Hawkes. I
Me
really
too.
do, but he's just not in it enough.
R.I.P. Pete.
But outside of that, Seth is, in my opinion, the best character in this movie. I do love that there is like a very calm, calculated like attitude towards him, but it does come off, and there's some moments of weakness with Jacob where you can even see like some of it might just be like overcompensating for some insecurities that are under the surface. George Clooney plays this character fantastically. He is charming. He's cunning. Like, this character is fantastic, and he, in my opinion, does make the perfect protagonist for this, because he's not someone who should be the protagonist. He's a guy who's stuck in a bar with vampires, and like at one point he even says, he's like, you know, I don't believe in vampires, but I believe in my two eyes, and you know, I see vampires. Right? Like, he's such a good character.
Nailed it. I couldn't have said it any better. Memorable line.
Is it my turn or yours?
It doesn't matter.
I had the one that you already put, or that you already discussed. So what, were they psychos, or did they look like psychos? Is that what they looked like? They were vampires. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are.
Amazing.
It was just so good, and the delivery was fantastic.
It's one of the best lines from any film ever.
It's great. It is absolutely fantastic. I don't know how that's not one that people pick.
I have two different ones I can't pick between, though.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. It's Kate and Richie. Where are we going? Mexico.
What do they got
What's
there?
in Mexico? Mexicans.
That was pretty good.
At the very end was, you already mentioned it, it was Seth saying, "Go home, Kate. Maybe a bastard, but I'm not a fucking bastard."
I'd say go with the first one.
Yeah. The first one is very much Tarantino writing, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, where are we going? Mexico. I'll go with that.
Well, I think the issue with the Seth line is that why would he just leave her there?
It's a very Clooney line, but no, a lot of his actions in the movie do not make sense.
After everything you've been through, and I'm not saying like he's supposed to have this character turn where he becomes a good guy, but you would think that you would just be like, I'm gonna at least get you to safety. Leaving her in the middle of nowhere in the like Mexican desert, because I'm assuming this is a very remote location.
It's not, though. It's like when they cross the border, they're like, you just have to drive down this road and then you turn left at your next intersection and you go down there and that's where the bar is. Like, it sounds like it's right next to the US border. I found that incredibly ridiculous.
I got the impression that it was remote.
It's supposed to be, but the description that we get is like, it's like an hour away.
Well, an hour away could be remote. Yeah. I don't know.
What about memorable scene?
So there's just one random shot when all of the stuff starts going down. 4 of like the dancer vampires kind of line up. Mm-hmm. And you get this like motley crew of Seth, Jacob, Sex Machine, and I don't know his name in the movie.
Fred Williamson?
What? Yeah. Well, what was his character's name?
Frost.
They kind of like line up almost like a superhero standoff with these vampires. And it's like, you just see it. Sex Machine has his whip, and like Jacob just kind of looks out of place, but he's ready for a fight. You know, like, I don't know what it is about this shot, but I just loved seeing these all line up like this.
Dude, I have the exact same answer.
Seriously?
Yeah. It is ridiculous, but it looks perfect. It makes no sense.
I'm surprised that we didn't have a full sweep because we didn't pick the same line. I thought it was going to be scene that we didn't get.
No.
That's crazy.
It's close. Very close. But no, that scene's absolutely amazing.
Okay. So what are your final thoughts on From Dusk Till Dawn?
It is the best Tales from the Crypt film that never was. It is probably my favorite action horror film of all time. I love it. The writing is great. The directing is great. For 1996. By today's standards, it does not really hold up, but it is a great time capsule of what was amazing in the mid-90s. I highly recommend this movie. You can watch it by yourself. You can watch it with friends. It's absolutely ridiculous. Tarantino's still creepy, no matter what anyone says. He always will be. But it's great to see Clooney in his heyday, because he was a perfect leading man. Should never have been Batman. But he is great in this film. Seeing Cheech Marin play 3 different roles, wonderful. Trejo, great. Tito and Tarantula, awesome. Harvey Keitel kills it, as he always does. Juliette Lewis, fucking awesome in this movie. It's so much fun, but it is a movie of its time. It could not be made today. So yes, I would recommend everyone watch it, given the caveat that it's a 90s movie. Don't expect anything amazing, and you will be happily surprised. What do you think?
I'm so incredibly torn on this one, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll say I enjoyed watching it, and get that out of the way right away.
Okay.
But I went into this movie with my expectations set on I'm going to watch a vampire movie.
Yeah.
And when this became a vampire movie, was probably the most disappointing part of the movie for me, because the first 50 minutes of this crime movie, I was loving so much more than I thought I should have.
Yeah.
And again, it's not to say the vampire part is bad, but you built this expectation of this amazing crime movie that just then goes to a vampire movie. And I liked both, right? But it's one of those tales of two movies, and I so vastly preferred the first one, that it just kind of brought down the second part for me.
It's a common reaction for this film. It really is.
I would have absolutely loved to just see a full 2-hour movie about these criminal brothers trying to escape.
Yep.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm torn on it, because I did enjoy the movie. I can't say that I didn't have fun with it. I can't say that it wasn't good. But that divide just threw me off.
Yeah. I love it, but I can't help but constantly wonder what it could have been.
All right. So that's our thoughts on From Dusk Till Dawn. If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can hit us up on social media. We are on Twitter at BSBargainBin, bsbargainbin.com, facebook.com/BSBargainBin, and youtube.com/@BSBargainBin. Ben.
Yep.
What are we watching next week?
Next week, we're taking a bit of a turn, and we'll be covering 1995's A Goofy Movie.
Going somewhere, Pop?
Sure are. It's a vacation with me and my best buddy.
Donald Duck?
Oh, silly.
With you.
It's Goofy.
Give me a big
Stop goofing around. In an outrageous full-length animated feature.
We'll spend some real quality time together.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Walt Disney Pictures presents
Come on, this is gonna be fun.
the story of a father who couldn't be closer
That's the spirit, Maxie.
This is embarrassing.
to driving his son crazy.
This is pathetic.
Now, they're getting a crash course in becoming best friends.
It's Bigfoot!
Could you back up a bit, Mr. Foot? You're out of focus.
This spring, one of Disney's favorite classic characters lands at theaters in the most hilarious
It's the Leaning Tower of Cheesa.
and hippest animated musical comedy ever.
A little smoke, kid.
a goofy movie.
Morning, son.
Dad!
It's hard to be cool when your dad is goofy.
You look just like I did at your age.
Please don't say that, Dad.
Until next week, have a good one.
All the best.